and you're listening live here at the Dojo. Hiya! All right, not too smooth the first time around, but...
And if you're wondering who is on the phone right now, you got a surprise coming for you.
Right, and you might be wondering, who was that? I mean, if you're a Dojo loyal listener, there's probably a lot going on. Where have the boys been? Where's JoJo? A frequent question. We actually got not former co-host, not in studio, but called in just for the boys, Dylan Bunce. Dylan, how you doing?
I wish I was here. I wish I was there with you fellas, Something came up, but believe me, there's nothing I take more seriously than life here at the dojo.
And this is, I can almost guarantee that Dylan will not miss an episode following this. And you might be wondering who else is here. It would be our greatest guest we've probably ever had on the show, upgraded to co-host. And that's David Fletcher. Dave, great day.
How you doing, folks?
There it is, Fletch.
Yep, loyal Eagle fan, North Jersey representative, and that's pretty much all you got to know about me, folks.
And honestly, it's pretty nice that Fletch gave an intro because me and Dill have kind of just been going off the preface that everyone knew who we were.
I mean, they don't?
That's me and Dale, same high school. Fletch doesn't think it's a real place, but, we were both there.
Yeah, North Carolina will be addressed sometime throughout this podcast, most definitely. Their stories I've heard are nothing to scoff at, let's just say that.
Yeah, 100%. Dill's here for a limited time on the show today, folks, but is there anything, Dill, you want to get off your chest that we can just get going before you have to get out of here?
It's D-Boogie 5, that's what I'm going to call it, this little segment.
D-Boogie 5, I love it.
I'm just really going to, get some stuff off my chest, If you haven't noticed by now, pretty diehard Cowboys fan. Happy Fletch has joined the podcast, actually, a little friction, a little fire. I'm loving it.
Right, and right there in that rivalry.
Yeah. And I'm here for it. So, really not much to complain about. Sunday night went about as good as you could have hoped. These Dallas Cowboys smacked the New York Football Giants up and down the field like they're a bunch of little girls. All right, this was insane. Micah Parsons, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, but when you play a Pee Wee football team, it makes it pretty easy for some.
Yeah, not much football coming out of those Giants.
If there's one thing me and Fletch could probably agree on here, there's a lot of talk coming out this off season about the Giants have closed the talent gap between the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Troy Aikman said it during the pod.
I don't fucking think so, okay?
No, yeah, that's something I will agree with there. Probably the one few thing I'll agree with a Cowboys fan right there.
Dill, how do you feel? A lot of people, and if you haven't been listening before, Joe here, coming out of the Cleveland Browns camp, a lot of people were saying Deshaun Watson did not play well, and a lot of people said the same thing about Dak Prescott. Any comments on that?
I'm not one to make excuses for my man Dakota.
Right.
But we had 13 points before this fella even. He didn't have to do a damn thing. He just stepped on the field. We're already kicking ass.
No, right, and that's.
The ball. But we're playing with a fucking Nerf football soaked in water. I don't even know what we were doing out there. We're still kicking ass. If you think Dak didn't play well, you just didn't watch. There's a bunch of drops, but you can't even fault the fellas. It's wet. It's wet outside, guys.
Have you ever tried to play football in the water? It's not easy. Deshaun Watson was going through a similar problem.
Yeah, and I know this was something that I didn't know if we were going to mention, but now that Jalen Hurts did just throw an interception, there is a Monday Night Football game going on right now.
Yeah.
Folks. And it now looks like the Eagles are playing in a monsoon with the way that Hurts has been playing so far. So that is something that might have to get addressed in case to hear some screaming going on. Folks.
Yeah, however, I would like to also mention I have not seen a drop of rain in this football game. However, a lot of turnovers have been taking place.
Yes, most definitely.
some of our. You're just going. I mean, did you not see the on-air sign when you walked in?
No, I didn't. Yeah, we are currently live for the Dojo Podcast. I think you might have to introduce yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna have our first guest. I guess in this.
Who we got?
Orioles got bases loaded, no outs.
Okay, well, I mean, Gabe Williams comes in with the update. Orioles back live to the dojo here. We're actually back. A little cut off there. Technical difficulties. Second show. What do you want from us?
Yep, it's happened, folks.
And Dylan Bunce, as much as I know you guys love to hear him, he's actually had to step out. I didn't get to mention it before, but he was in a running car in a garage. We had to get him out of there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be addressed. He had to call in, folks. He was not able to. He made dedication to the show. He was actually at what we like to call family dinner, but yeah, we had to get him in there for at least the intro. No, right, and a guy as important as Dylan is definitely someone that we can't miss. Someone that is gonna miss frequently, I would imagine, is a guy that you guys know. We bring him up a lot, and that's JoJo Ward. Now you might be thinking, do the boys even reach out? Do they even want JoJo on the show? I personally, and I can't speak for Dylan, nor would I ever, but I reached out to JoJo a plethora of times. I'm talking text messages, phone calls, FaceTimes, and just like the first two episodes, the guy just doesn't care. The guy has not been here, and will that change? Time will tell, but I don't know, Fletch. You're early on here in the show. How do you feel? I mean, it's... the fact that I heard he almost forgot about what the dojo was, it really goes to show his dedication to this podcast is that little to none. And, we got guys here like Diego and Gabe Williams, not currently contributing, but at least they're showing that their support for the cast.
Right. I mean, bench warmers, they don't always make the plays, but they're better than the guys on IR. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
That is...
And, if you're wondering who Gabe Williams is, if you've ever seen the bench warmers, you can imagine the Howie character. Sitting in the closet with the bowl cut. That's about what we're looking at.
Yeah, and we don't have an all-star staff, as we've said. This is only the 1, 2, 3rd episode. And we're not even 100% sure the first two are live, but, this is what we've got right now. Diego Mendez is also here, brother of Gabe Mendez, who has also never been on the show. Diego, you want to say anything for yourself on the dojo?
I'm Diego, Redskins fan.
You're going to have to speak
from
up.
Maryland.
You're going to have to speak up.
Hate everyone from Jersey and the Eagles.
Yeah, that's just a fraud. That's a fraud response right there. You know that he's currently watching a Monday Night Football Eagles game, so you're showing that he has some sort of support for us because he's not a Vikings fan. That's
if
for
you
sure.
ever want to know what David Fletcher looks like, just go to your local landfill and he will probably be in there.
Yeah, and if Chris Hutchinson is in that landfill, then you got a good view, folks, because it's a mixture of Hutchinson and about probably Zac Efron.
I was going to say Brad Pitt, but that'll do as well.
Yeah, I don't
Gabe,
know
if you just heard a random person into the chat, that's actually Gabe Williams. Did not introduce himself, just barged into the podcast. But I guess that's all you could ask for from a guy's participation. Still more than JoJo, I would like to say.
Most definitely.
Now, if you remember the first couple episodes, we were laying down some of the laws, some of the groundworks of which our show relies on. And we're going to have to confirm. I still feel pretty similar. And that's the first things first. Star Wars is cool.
Yeah, and when I watched back the first couple episodes of this podcast, I saw that there was not a lot of controversy. There seemed to be a lot of agreeing. And I feel like this might be where the first controversy comes in. Because, I'm a big fan of the first couple Star Wars. But once we get into the... people consistently watching Mandalorian and stuff like that, I feel like you get to the nerd point, folks.
Yeah, and I can agree there. I can't say that I've watched The Mandalorian, maybe an episode here or there. If my buddies are watching it, I'm not going to tell them to click it off because are you going to be that guy? No. But, I've never seen, this Ahsoka thing's coming out. That's not going to get watched.
Yeah, well, I feel like if you're... maybe I went a little too deep there. I feel like even if you're into the lore of Star Wars, you're almost getting to that point, folks, where let's just grow up at this nowadays, right?
Well, and that's Now, Dylan Bunce, if he was still in that running car in his garage, I guarantee you that's where we would draw the line. I mean, I do play, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there. The Star Wars video games, that includes Lego Star Wars, that thing always hits. I don't know.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I can most definitely agree with that.
You guys are forgetting the main point. Megan Fox and Transformers, Princess Leia, Star Wars.
Oh my god.
And that's our local hornball, and that's Gabe Mendez coming in,
I'm
bringing
more
up the
Padme.
tits immediately.
Padme's the one.
Well, Padme is attractive, I think.
Padme is
If you have a pulse, we would all agree with that.
Actually, I think that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
That's what I
Princess
meant.
Leia.
That's what I meant.
Princess Leia looks like a dyke.
I know.
And that's rest in peace. The real.
Yeah, we're gonna have to say, I'm sure these first couple episodes will not be monetized by YouTube, whether or not they even ever see these. But it's important to note that was Diego Mendez in case we ever do blow up. That's just gonna have to be addressed. That was not one of the official cast members of this cast.
Speaking of monetization, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Freebie.
Freebie, yes.
And that is free TV, free movies at the drop of a button. That's not a lie. We actually are not being paid. No, we're not bringing up them just quite yet.
And I hate to be the king of controversy here, but we're talking about Freebie, and I'm gonna have to go on the other half and say PrimeWire.mx. They seem to have every single movie out there, every single show out there. And they have given me no lick of trouble in my entire career of using that website. So, you can check them both out, and you can let us know, folks, what you think.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you get a chance to view either one of them. I believe we watched Gabe Williams. If you ever want to be on the show again, we're going to need a computer charger, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a 9%, so it's not the most drastic thing ever.
Yeah, we are. I wouldn't call us in a race against time, but they're definitely getting to the starting line. And it looks like the Eagles have gotten a stop here. So that's where we're at. I mean, another law that we're a big Grown Ups 2 show. I don't know if anyone here disagrees with that. Anyone not seeing Grown Ups 2?
Yeah, coming from the king of controversy, I can completely agree with that. Well, if you haven't seen Grown Ups 2, you most definitely have to.
Any Will Ferrell
I
movie?
know we want to branch off this, our podcast and have our own little YouTube show.
Gabe, you're going to have to speak. I don't know why you're acting like this isn't happening right now.
Listen,
You're talking about branching off. This is the YouTube show.
I can't remember the name.
And that's going to be a tough start for Gabe Mendez on the show.
Shoot the arrow in there. Arrow roulette.
Arrowlet. That's an all-time scene. That can be an all-time scene. Now, you might be asking, why is Gabe Williams even in the podcast? Well, that's because soon off this podcast, we're going to be starting our golf channel. As you might be noticing by the name of our show, we are the Dojo Golf and Stuff.
Yes.
That includes golf. And Gabe Williams, would you like to comment on your golf game? I mean, that's why we're bringing you in here.
I'm all right.
He says he's all right.
Okay.
And I'm just going to have to go off on a tangent real quick. I'm not going to lie, we have been inspired by Bob Does Sports. They are
That's
probably one of my favorite YouTube channels.
of all time.
And
mean,
I would go as far to say Gabe Williams is our Fat Perez. He is what we call Skinny W. Skinny Willie. Skinny Willie.
Skilly.
And he is
Couldn't have
a,
said it better myself.
I'd say about what handicap are we talking nowadays? 3.7. When you got the decimals in there, we're talking about.
Call it a
something
scratch on a
serious.
good day. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. The man can play golf.
Shot under par before, so you can call
A
it
shot under
scratch.
par, and that's about all you need to know. Who knows if it was from the tips, but
It wasn't from the tips.
And if you don't know what the tips are, then you're gonna have to get educated, folks, because we're probably never gonna play
Yeah.
from there. But we'll talk about
Also,
that.
yeah, and if golf's not your thing, maybe the dojo's not for you, but maybe it is, because you can't forget that it's the dojo, golf, and stuff. So,
Hi.
and I could not have said it better myself. Once again, Gabe Williams, we're gonna need a charger.
For what, your laptop?
The laptop.
the
Yeah,
laptop.
The laptop
Yeah,
is
we-
dying.
Get stepping.
Any of
Get
them.
stepping.
I mean,
What? My laptop isn't like yours. I don't have a Mac.
and we're doomed. Gabe Mendez,
None
do
of
you
all
have?
have a laptop
Mine is
charger?
currently
I do,
charging.
That's fair.
Watch,
Yours is
grab your
current.
charger.
All right, folks.
And I would
This
give it.
guy.
Yeah, and we'll actually be right back with the dojo to make sure we can get our charger. We'll be right back with our sponsor. And we're back here live at the dojo. Hi-ya! That was a lot better. That's probably our best hi-ya yet.
about as good as you can get, I feel like.
So if you're looking for an update here, the Eagles are now down 7-3 with the football. Hand off to DeAndre Swift. That's going to go for 5. Not too shabby. All right, so at this point of the show, I feel like it's time for us to start getting some lists out there. You know, we do a lot of top 5s in the house. Yeah, we do a lot of top 5s in the house. And just based off how our lives are going here at college, you know, I feel like it's a good place to start would be top 5 fast food chains.
Yeah, I like that.
I
I like that a lot.
That's exactly the energy we need coming into our first ever segment. Name those things.
Here, I got it right here.
And when we're talking
I
about...
pulled up for you already. Here it is.
These are off the dome, Willie.
Yeah, Gabe Williams clearly thinks that this is something else.
Was blind ranking?
Gabe Williams. No, not blind ranking. No, this is the Dojo's top 5, Gabe.
Well, we were blind ranking. My bad.
All right.
Glad to see everyone read the script before the episode, and we're back.
Yeah, wow.
Who,
I was ready.
Now, what are we considering fast food and what are we considering?
I would say to be considered fast food, you have to be able to be in and out with your food in 15 minutes. Rather you eat it inside the restaurant or not, or if you just have...
Let's just make it easy. If it has a drive-thru, it's a fast food place.
But I would call Chipotle fast food as well.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
That's honestly the fastest of the fast foods.
I mean, I feel like there's times where you can
Chipotle
get
is an exception.
Gabe
Bro, you're
Williams is
Chipotle
speaking his
with-
God.
Oh, I actually have a Chipotle back home with a drive-thru, folks, so that stumps all of it.
We lived next to a Subway that has a drive-thru, so if you're questioning that, don't even worry about it.
All right, well then in that case, Chipotle is definitely a top 3 choice, folks.
I say we start at 5. We'll go around, get the 5, and then we'll go to 4.
Okay.
Right now we'll keep it to. All right. You know what? I'll give everybody a. This will be why everyone's thinking we'll have a good enough chance to throw it back to our sponsor at Freebie.
Prime MX dot. Yep, I just messed that up. folks.
That's our first ad reads of the year.
Isn't it MO?
Prime.mo.
To be fair, I look-y forgotten ever since I said that. PrimeWire.mx, folks. Check them out.
Maybe. I mean, and that's hopefully we're guessing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off here at 5. I'm gonna go with the tried and true McDonald's.
Okay, and that's fair. But to be fair, I'm gonna have to go, not because it's better, but because we're talking about number 5. I'm gonna have to go with Wendy's, folks.
Wendy's, and I'm gonna. Not that we're talking. We've been talking about some controversy on the show. I'm gonna go ahead and make these claims. Wendy's, Hardee's, Arby's, Carl's Jr.
All the same.
suck.
Okay.
All of them are terrible. I'm not gonna lie, and that's me speaking from the heart.
And
to be
folks, he has clearly never had a North Jersey Wendy's, because when we're talking about quality burgers, and you look at the McDonald's burger compared to the Wendy's burger, I feel like there's almost no comparison. The
Burger
meat
King's
is
better.
thicker.
Burger King is better.
Wendy's offers more condiments,
Big
aka avocado, if you like that, and
Vegetable.
such. And
Well, before we go any farther with this
Yeah.
burger talk, I'll make this claim as well. I have never gotten a burger from a fast food joint. That is a claim I'm willing to make.
And that is something that might have to be addressed in future podcasts, because that might be one of the biggest disgraces in fast food history.
In the dojo.
In the dojo history. Yep.
Right next to the fact where we had to discard, a certain event that happened in 1945 that we disagreed with, had to address it. But if you're a
100%.
loyal dojo watcher, you know exactly what we're talking about.
100%. Yes.
And we're going right to 4. I'm going to go ahead and throw Popeyes in at 4. Popeyes is tried and true with me. If you're a Popeyes eater, you know that your stomach might not agree with Popeyes, but your taste buds surely do.
And the question that I have to follow up with that is Popeyes better than Chick-fil-A?
Yes. Well, actually, if you want to go right to 3 for me, Chick-fil-A was going to get chucked right in. That's exactly how I feel
Now
about
that's
that.
where we're getting
This is a
into
crazy
depth.
take.
Because I was going to say,
Popeyes
I
is
might
better
have to
than
go,
McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. it is. Oh, yeah.
and that's very
We're
tough
on
for
the
me.
same page.
Because I feel like Popeyes does a lot better than Chick-fil-A in the chicken sandwich aspect of things. But then when
Once-
it comes to everything else, I feel, not everything else. Popeyes has the best chicken sandwich and fries in the fast food game.
The Cajun fries are unbeatable.
Yep.
You never
Yep.
had
Yep.
fries like that, folks.
biscuit?
I'll agree with that. Another claim I'll make, and just right to back up the burger claim, never gotten a chicken sandwich at another fast food restaurant either. So
And at that point, I'm going to have to say, then you're not a real Popeyes fan, folks.
well, you can say that. However, if you get Popeyes 4 times a week and you're getting the 5-piece combo with the Cajun fries, I'm going to have to call myself a Popeyes fan. I mean, I'm keeping the Salisbury Popeyes in business. My man Darrell, shout out Darrell, working the drive-thru. He's actually come up to me at the window and said, "Damn, man, you really like Popeyes, don't you?"
And when we're talking about you haven't gotten things at fast food, I'm going to have to come out and be completely clean with the Dojo fans. I have never gotten fried chicken by itself at any sort of fast food place. When it comes to Chick-fil-A nuggets, Popeyes, or KFC chicken, I've
You've
simply
got-
never
wow.
had it, folks. I
Never-
simply never had it.
You've never had the Chick-fil-A nuggets by themselves.
No, I've never had a singular Chick-fil-A nugget, folks.
That's wild.
And it's because I don't like the sauce.
And I've never. Wow. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not a ranch, blue cheese,
That's
barbecue,
Polynesian.
Polynesian can also go
Chick-fil-A
in.
sauce.
Nope, never had the Chick-fil-A sauce, but I have had their buffalo sauce, and it does bring the heat. I'm a big fan. DeAndre Swift's gonna be down.
And I hate to break the silence of the football aspect of this podcast, but if this is not a QB sneak on the half-inch yard line for the Eagles, you are going to see an absolute explosion from David Fletcher right here.
We are gonna be
because
looking-
I need Jalen Hurts to rush this thing in, folks.
We are looking at a rule change here. The Eagles are not going to be able to run their rugby play, and if they're going, it does not seem to matter, actually. Jalen Hurts still squats.
And that's what
600
happens
pounds.
when you have the best center in the league with a 600-pound squatter at quarterback. That should be a touchdown, folks.
It looks-
That is going to be a touchdown.
And it looks like the Vikings have iced the Eagles QB sneak. We're going to have to take that off the board. And as a Jalen Hurts fantasy owner, that does hurt me, but also, yeah, that is rough if you're an Eagles fan as well as a Jalen Hurts fantasy owner. That is, a lot of people at Jalen Hurts. Jersey Jerry actually said that Jalen Hurts would score the first touchdown. It
And,
appears that that's taken off the board.
And TJ Hawkinson did score. We're going to have to get that out of the way. But I'm going to have to address the fact that if the play goes off, I feel like it's really the referee's fault for not stopping this play.
I mean, I was going to say at the end of that play, it actually looked like every single Eagle was injured on that play. They were all just kind of laying on the ground quietly.
Yeah, that's our MO.
That would have been a tough way to go out, to lose every single player on your offense on a play that didn't count. That's always going to hurt.
And folks, we're right back at it. If this doesn't go straight back to Hurts, then we're talking about a real problem. And there he is, folks! And if that was not in, then I got a real problem, ain't I? Woo!
And that's going to count. And that was a complete waste of everyone's time. Lane Johnson giving a wave to the screen. And that's just Eagles football.
And that's exactly what you want to see, folks. That's exactly what you want to see as an Eagles fan and a Jalen Hurts manager. You really can't ask for anything more. This is damn near pee-wee ball that we're dealing with, folks.
Just going to go off the left side, punch it in, and that's good.
And I know you can't see this, but if you're wondering, it is September 14th, 2023. Go look up that play. Why not? Look at the highlights of the game. I'm sure you'll find it, folks. And I hate to say folks so many times, but it's clearly my word. And it's probably going to happen again.
There's going to be some phrases on this show. I mean, I think bitch made cat is definitely going to get chucked around once or twice.
Bitch made cat is an absolute elite saying that I've actually come to my cat. I've actually heard for the first time in the past couple days. And I'm a huge fan. Let's just say that.
And if it's really unfortunate that Dylan is not here because I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm pretty sure the Eagles are Dylan's least favorite team. So that should cause some decent controversy within the show.
And that would have been fun to talk about because Jalen Hurts looks like an elite quarterback on that drive. An elite quarterback, to say the least.
That is remarkable. Going back to the top 5 food list. I had McDonald's 5,
Right.
Popeyes 4, Chick-fil-A 3. Go ahead and take it off.
And I'm going to have to go with Wendy's at 5, McDonald's at 4. And that is simply based off the fact that I have recently tried a McChicken within the past year, and I'm a huge fan of that thing. And then at 3, I'm going to have to pull out. You know, this is scary now that I get down to it because now I'm realizing that either Chick-fil-A or Popeyes is not going to enter this top 5 at this pace.
Wow.
And I think I'm going to have to throw Chick-fil-A at 3, folks.
Chick-fil-A's at 3.
And as someone who was arguing for the Popeyes chicken sandwich and all, I feel like this is quite a bit of an atrocity. But, you know, I feel like there's factors that makes Popeyes a little bit worse than Chick-fil-A.
Well, the one thing about Popeyes is if you're going to get good food from Popeyes, you're also not going to get the service. It's going to be a give or take. You know, you cannot get both.
Yeah, and I am a huge fan of Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese, and if you don't know yet, I am a top mac and cheese is a top 3 food for me in my books. And the one time I got Popeyes mac and cheese, it was good, and then the next time I had to report it to Popeyes because it was about the worst mac and cheese I've ever had. I'm pretty sure they didn't cook it, and I had to get it refunded, folks. So that's about what happened there, and that was really the over top. That's what took Chick-fil-A over the top there.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want is to have to report.
I needed to be defrosted so I could eat it.
And we have Diego Mendez talking about defrosting chicken in the back of our podcast. We might have to get a soundproof room.
Wasn't even talking about the frosting chicken.
What were you doing?
Well, I heard defrost.
Freezer-burn cookout milkshake in there. I need it put in the fridge so I can defrost a little so I can eat it.
I thought Cookout was going to enter your top 5 list of fast foods.
Oh, if that counts as the top 5, folks, then we're talking about a rearrangement of a list. You know, as someone from North Jersey, there is no Cookout within about 4 hours and 15 minutes of me. So.
I was about to say, I'm not 100% sure that Salisbury doesn't possess the only Cookout on the entire planet. I'm not.
And I would agree with that if I didn't go to the Outer Banks once and I saw a Cookout on the way. On the way. No, on the way.
What about
Definitely
Raising
not
Cane's?
in the Outer Banks.
Raging Cane's?
Raising Cane's.
Yeah, I mean, Diego just did say raging. If you want to run that
No,
podcast
I said
back,
Raising Cane's.
if you want to run the podcast back, you'll hear a G in there very
It's
fluently.
that Pepsi cup.
But yeah, now that we're talking about Cookout being a fast food choice, I am definitely going to have to throw Wendy's right outside that list to maybe 6 or 7, because now that I'm thinking about it,
Popeyes is probably.
there are some things flying through my mind now that we're talking about.
Wendy's has got it.
And Gabe Williams from deep throwing in Wendy's, I guess.
Gabe Williams.
Sledge, your cookout should be number 140.
And it might. And it's a 1 or 2, and that is because in my
Wow.
life, I'm going to have to get straight to this.
Holy
Chipotle
macaroni.
might go straight to 1 for me, folks.
Wow, that was
What about
Chipotle was going to be one for
Holy
me as well.
macaroni?
And that's just not even a fact.
Yeah, I don't know if we can qualify holy macaroni.
And if you're wondering, viewers, what holy macaroni is, this is a restaurant slash
Fast food.
maybe fast food place
That's
that
fast serve.
has
Fast serve.
fast to serve. Gabe Mendez with a new turn.
fast served,
Yeah.
This is a mac and cheese place that has opened up
there's no
in our college town that has about anything you can add to the toppings. And I'm not gonna lie, my first bowl was absolutely a 10 out of 10, and the second bowl was about a 7.5 out of 10. So, you know, we're still trying to learn about holy macaroni. If you have one near you, try it out.
and honestly, I was gonna put Chipotle at 1, but after you just bringing up the toppings, it reminded me of something that gives me a lot of joy. At number 2, I'm gonna go ahead and throw Chipotle because I still respect their game. I respect what they bring to the table. But at number 1, it's gonna have to be the Easton Amish Market and their pretzel, lobster, crab dip. I don't even know what they call this thing. Some guy with 2 hooks sells it at the store. This shit is delicious, folks. Let me break it down for you. You walk in, they got the handmade lemonade for you, right? That's just included in the meal. And then they're gonna go ahead, fry up a pretzel for you, put a bunch of lobster meat in it, dip it in some crab dip, and serve it to you on a stick. And if that doesn't sound delicious to you, I don't know if the dojo's for you, quite frankly, because that is all I need in life.
You know, and now how good that sounds, I am having to come back to the K of controversy and say, that is not a fast food chain. If they do not have at least 10 damn restaurants on the east or west coast, then they cannot be considered a fast food chain, folks. So the Amish market is gonna have to leave that list as soon as you can say fucking Amish market.
I have Cabo over Chipotle.
And we have Gabe Mendez coming here saying Cabo over Chipotle. And if you're wondering, no, he's not a vegan. And no, he is not under 100 pounds, which is probably the only people that would enjoy Cabo over Chipotle.
Couldn't tell you what Cabo is.
It's pretty much
literally the Mediterranean version of Chipotle.
No, that's
Mediterranean.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what Mediterranean food is,
you're not alone.
You're not alone. And that's about as good as you could say it. I do not know what Mediterranean food is, but I've had Cabo one time, and I was underwhelmed, to say the least, folks.
And I'm gonna have to come to the Eastern Amish market's defense, because if you want to talk about speed, let's not talk about shit. Diego Mendez is taking a phone call mid-take, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about some of the fast food places that are making food slower than the Amish market. I mean, they got grills, they got workers, they got ovens, they got all they need. You know what the Amish market's got? Hank with 2 hooks for hands, okay?
I don't want to interrupt you, but do you see what the fuck's going on right here?
Yeah.
Wait, he's outside right now.
And you'll get to know Gabe Williams a little bit better, but he's actually sitting behind us eating a gigantic tub of applesauce like a 4-year-old. But
yeah, and I might puke, folks.
We're not gonna rate apple. We're not gonna rate. Do not. Well, another law, just so we can get this off our chest as well in this first episode. If you eat ketchup by itself, there's a special place in hell for an
You
individual
deserve to be
like you.
shot. The seventh layer of Dante's hell, and that is boiling blood river, and that's where you deserve to be if you eat the ketchup straight up. Maybe even if you have ketchup with the food, I'll accept it, but I still don't respect
Yeah,
you.
I'm not gonna lie. If you come near me with ketchup, you're asking for a right hook, probably followed by a left jab. I mean, I am not dealing with that.
And getting straight back to what is fast food, I had to pull out the Safari search for this one, folks. Fast food is a type of mass-produced food designed for commercial resale. And I'm going to have to argue that the Amish market almost 100% does not have a commercial nor mass-produced. And I really hope the mic didn't pick up what Gabe Mendez just said. Even coming from someone of the Mexican descent, I'm going to have to say that is probably not allowed on YouTube.
No doubt about it.
Mexican, but okay.
Spanish, I'm sorry, folks. And they kind of go hand in hand, I hate to say it.
I would like to say, the Amish women, as well as Hank, 2-hook Hank, as we call him, on the shore, they get this stuff mass-produced. If I went in there and said, I need 300 of these pretzel lobster crab dip dogs by tomorrow, I guarantee you they could double it for me and have it in my house by the end of the day.
And I'm going to have to run that back. Did you just say lobster pretzel thogs?
Possibly.
And that is a word that I might have to add to my vocab because I have never heard that in my life, folks. Thogs. I need someone to fact check that one for me. Jamie with the... Can we get a check on thogs? Is that a word? And I'm pointing to Gabe Williams right now.
Who is still just eating a giant tub of applesauce, has not flinched. I mean, this isn't one of those shows. If you watch Barstool, first off, good to hear you. And then Glenny Balls eating the ice cream in the back. That's not going to be one of these shows. We're not just going to have Gerber eating applesauce between us. It's just... He is not. Is that a fork you're eating it with? No, that's a spoon. Okay, I was a little concerned for a second.
And a question I had for Joey Bilstein. As a Browns fan, this was something, not I am a Browns fan, but he's a Browns fan. This is something that was on my mind. If you could, this is the first real question that was personally designed by me on this podcast.
There it is.
If you could, would you rather DeShone Kizer have a Super Bowl championship under his belt for the Browns? Whenever his last year playing was, when he had the most interceptions in the NFL.
And his first year. His last and first year, unfortunately.
Or would you rather Deshaun Watson be simulated to the Super Bowl for the Browns this year?
And if Deshaun Kaiser's listening to this, I'd like to say, buddy, I had a lot of faith in you. Deshaun Kaiser, let's talk about the career. Let's talk about what Deshaun Kaiser did accomplish, okay? 4-0 in the preseason. That's probably where the list is going to end, to be 100% honest. That's Deshaun Kaiser. If you're a Browns fan, you've seen the jersey with the names. We don't got to go over it. I mean, we're talking Delhomme, Wallace, Garcia, Hoyer. We could go on for a good number of days. I think those are a core four. Manziel, if you want to be crafty. Deshaun Kaiser goes right to the bottom of that list. Deshaun Kaiser.
Keep talking.
100% gonna need a soundproof room for this podcast.
Most definitely. I really hope you cannot hear Diego Mendes right now because he is an absolute abomination to this podcast at the moment.
Shut the fuck
Has
up.
added nearly nothing to the conversation and has consistently talked about his milkshake, a phone call, and now whatever the hell he's talking about over
I'll
there.
explain the story.
No, how about you add something to the damn conversation?
I bought my girlfriend DoorDash, okay?
Hold up.
She called me right now, was like, yo, I ordered your favorite ice cream, Chunky Monkey, which is the top 3 ice cream of all time from Ben & Jerry's, okay? Go outside, she's standing right there. I'm like, I was like, I don't know. I was like, alright, it's my top 2, but not my 2.
So it's the best ice cream flavor from Ben &
Yeah,
Jerry's.
we're gonna have to bring up the topic.
I go outside, and I'm like, where is it? I look to my right, she's standing right there. She surprised me. So I'm gonna go back upstairs, I'm gonna go put my wiener in that thing, so.
Okay, folks. Now I'm gonna have to address. I need you to answer this question first, but now that was talked about, I have a follow-up question.
What's the follow-up
I need
question?
you to finish this question, though. Deshaun Kaiser, it sounded like you were kind of going towards the path that I did not expect, honestly.
No, yeah. As much as I don't, nice talking to you, man. Yeah, Kaiser, if you look at that jersey list, if we're talking about the bottom 3, it's probably Kaiser. You could Cody Kessler, for all it's worth, he never won a football game either. He actually came in a couple times for Kaiser, and if you're a Browns fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And then probably, just for all, I don't know if the Manziel doc was hard to watch for other Browns fans, but it certainly was hard for me. Those would be my bottom 3. And, when you said Deshaun Kaiser had a Super Bowl, my brain, can't even function that as, and the Vikings. Oh!
That's a touchback! That's a touchback, right, folks?
Justin Jefferson might have just thrown the ball out of the
Oh,
back.
and that's a fumble! Oh, no, that's a touchback, folks! And we might be looking at one of the bigger plays of the game right here. Justin Jefferson went to reach for a touchdown and fumbled the ball what looked like to be out of bounds. And that would be a touchdown, folks, for y'all. That would be a touchback.
Touchback. We know the
for
rules.
you folks who don't understand football. And that's going to be a huge play for the Eagles if that's the case, folks.
Oh, that's a fumble. That is
but is
fumble.
the question, is it in the ton zone? Woo! And that is a huge play for the Birds if not. That's going to go out. Folks, that's going to... Oh, my God, folks. We're looking at one of the more controversial plays in Eagles history.
From straight over top, like a bird's eye view camera.
Oh, they got one. They got one for you.
They got one for you, Williams.
But you still can't tell where it crosses the side.
Oh, it crosses. Is that even a... I don't even know.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
This might be one of the more controversial calls in the NFL watched on the Dojo Podcast, folks.
And if you're wondering what qualifies us to talk about football, let me put your mind at ease that all of us at the Dojo host have scored a touchdown in D3 football.
Yes,
so
sir.
we know exactly what we're talking about.
And and I'm going to have to say this out loud. If this is ruled a touchdown, folks, you might never hear from David Fletcher again.
It's not going to be a touchdown.
If this is even ruled on the 1-yard line, I think I might lose my mind.
I think that's what...
But are you telling me, Joey Bilstein, that this is you want Deshaun Watson in the Super Bowl?
I want it bad. And if you're a Browns fan, I hope you were probably just as surprised as me. I'm sitting in my bed. I get a phone call from JoJo Ward, ex-Dojo host member, and
All right.
our friend Gerber just almost choked to death. Just almost choked to death on applesauce. I didn't even know that was possible.
No.
That's why it's given to infants, but that's neither here nor there.
There we go.
Now I'm good. Now we're good.
But I was laying in my bed when we signed Deshaun Watson. I get a call from JoJo Ward. He's like, "Did you see the news? You guys saw Deshaun Watson." I immediately told him to shut the hell up and not bug me with that because I had been told by the masses that he was not interested in Cleveland. Then I received a second phone call from a much more trustworthy member of the dojo, Dylan Bunce, who had called me. I immediately get on my phone and had one of the happier days of my life as a Browns fan, seeing that we hopefully had a quarterback. So, and obviously you can feel how you want about Deshaun Watson. The man can throw a football, and that's something we haven't seen in Cleveland in a long time. Obviously, if you're a real fat Browns fan, you definitely love Baker Mayfield and what he did for us because you suffered those years. My entire life,
This is Heston Kerstad's first MLB at bat.
We can't hear you, Gabe Williams. We cannot hear you, nor do we care about Kirsten Killiams right now.
Right now.
All right, and we have him talking about an Orioles pitch hitter, which, as a fan for the dojo, I guarantee you do not give a flying fuck about. And Joey, go on about whether or not you want Watson in the Super Bowl.
I mean, we're talking about, at the time, the highest paid football player in the NFL's history. And if you would have told me that the Cleveland Browns ever would have had that, I'd have called you a liar on the spot. This has been a team that has struggled. Oh, and we're going to have to call here in the Eagles game.
A touchback! A touchback! A touchback! A touchback! A touchback! A touchback!
Oh.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Wait.
Nope. It looks like the Vikings are jogging.
It looked like Justin Jefferson was pretty satisfied with that call.
He was either saying my bad or he's satisfied. We don't actually have the volume on because we are hosting the dojo here.
He was saying my bad.
Holy smokes, folks. We're talking about one of the bigger... And now we're talking about one of the bigger plays in Eagles history right now, folks. My bad, Justin Jefferson. It's your bad that we didn't draft you, folks, with your brown beard and your black hair. It doesn't make sense. Terrell Edmonds is pumped up, and that's 3 turnovers now for the Vikings, folks. And we are looking at a huge turnaround event for the Eagles. And we got 34 seconds. With Jalen Hurts, you never know. Is he going to try and go for something here? He very well might. And it very well might go to my friend A.J. Brown, who is on my fantasy team as well.
Me and Fletch, in separate leagues. We're in several leagues together. But we both have the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts combo. And it is one that I am banking on this season.
Y'all only up 3 and they've turned the ball over 3 times.
Because we have
1 point of turnover.
Yeah.
1 point of turnover.
This is big, folks, and now that did you finish up your Deshaun
No, well,
Watson?
no, we actually I could not ignore that. If our purchase of Deshaun Watson is validated by a Super Bowl victory, I don't even know if there's words that can describe the celebration that will take place in Cleveland, in my household, in this household, on the Dojo. I mean, they will burn buildings down. I mean, similar to Philadelphia. Jim Zorn, our new defensive coordinator, actually made the claim the only reason he signed with Cleveland is because the only Super Bowl parade he thought that could compete with the Philadelphia Eagles is a Cleveland Browns Super Bowl parade.
And I like that a lot. Coming from someone who's a fan of Deshaun Watson, and I don't know about a fan of what he's done in the past, but, I feel like he was kind of slandered for no reason, folks. And I'm going to have to bring up, just considering Diego brought up this topic, I might have to address this. A top 2 Ben & Jerry's flavor. I don't know if you guys are a fan of Ben & Jerry's. I don't know if Joey's a fan of Ben & Jerry's.
Oh, yeah.
But I most definitely have a top 2 that is almost undefeated. And the question is, which one is number 1 for me? That's the real question. And Joey, do you want to start us off? You got a number 2. Do you have a number 1?
I would honestly go as far as to say when I go to Ben & Jerry's to get not 2 Ben & Jerry's, when I'm making a Ben & Jerry's purchase, it's chocolate brownie chunks. That is all it is. That's what I'm getting. That is what's going to get bought every single time. If it's on the shelf, it's getting bought. If it's not on the shelf, I'm not getting Ben & Jerry's. It's as simple as that.
And I can tell you, folks, that is not in my top 2. I am not a brownie fan, to say the least. I'll eat a brownie. If a brownie is the only dessert there, I'll eat half of one. But brownies are not my thing. And if you haven't tried the half-baked flavor, I urge you now to try it. Go out to your local Wawa convenience store, whatever there is. Unless it's sold out, they will have a half-baked for you right there. I promise you that. And at number 2, one of the more easy things ever. It could have even competed with number 1, milk and cookies, folks. Milk and cookies is an absolutely elite flavor of Ben & Jerry's. And when I think of Ben & Jerry's, I think of that Victorious episode where they're eating them and they're looking for the letters.
Underrated
They're looking for the letter on the
bottom.
top.
On the bottom. No, I'm completely familiar.
Yes. And they always talk about Chunky Monkey. They talk about Brownie Blast, whatever that was. And
Choco Brownie. Yep.
Choco Brownie Swirl, whatever that was. And I feel like Half Baked is not mentioned enough. Half Baked is most definitely a number one Ben & Jerry's flavor of all time. And that is almost no doubt.
One thing I'll go back to, you had mentioned that you're not a big brownie fan.
100%.
In my childhood, you have a birthday party, hopefully. If not, that's a tough break if you never had a birthday party. Tough break if you're a Dojo listener who didn't. I apologize for you to all the orphans out there.
Most definitely.
But given the option between having cake or brownies at my birthday party, I can guarantee you that brownies were selected every single day of the week. A good made brownie, whether you like it hard on the outside, gooey on the middle, gooey all around, hard all around, it's hard to mess up a brownie. I'm not saying it can't be done because I've seen it done, quite frankly. But the brownie, and this is where I'm gonna be. If we were ranking desserts, which I'm sure we will one day, go ahead and put the spoiler out there. Brownie's going at number one for me.
Yeah, and we're talking about birthday parties. I'm gonna have to say, I wasn't a cake guy either. I wasn't a fan of cake.
I don't think any well-respected American could be.
But if I was going to go for something, I'm going straight for that ice cream cake. And I am taking that frosting off the top, and I am simply eating that ice cream with some of that Oreo/brownie crumble that was around it a good amount of times.
Sounds like just Ben & Jerry's, really. That's
and that wasn't my preference. If I could have said I want a pumpkin pie or I want a Ben & Jerry's pint for my birthday, I would have done that. But the thing is, that was never offered to me, folks, and I very well wish it was. If I ever have a kid in the future, that will be what I offer him.
How do you feel? And you know how I feel. And if you don't know, Dojo fans, get ready to know. I would say the cheesecake is really, on our D3 football team, this is not the peak of athleticism, but it's about where it gets. Before every game, I'm going to go ahead and wipe out an entire cheesecake. That's just something I feel strongly about. That's not something that's going to change in my life. I wasn't sure how you felt about cheesecake, being a cheese fan. I'll speak for Fletch. This is one of the bigger cheese fans that you're not a Packers fan by any means, but this is a man who loves cheese. He is a cheese head without being a Packers fan, no doubt about it. And that's a 61-yard field goal absolutely drilled by Jordan Elliott.
Oh my God. Wow. And, we're talking about cheese. I am very well cheesing right now at that 61-yard field goal from Jake Elliott. That is one of the more elite things you like to see from a kicker. That is something that only Justin Tucker would be able to attempt, and Jake Elliott right there. And, this might shock Joey. I am the biggest cheese fan you'll ever know, /meet. You'll never meet me, but I have never had a cheesecake in my life, nor a slice, nor a piece, nor a bite. And the thought of cheese and cake in the combination has always thrown me off, and I'll admit that has always gotten me to kind of stray away from it. And hearing how much he likes it, I kind of am upset that I've never tried one, but I truly feel a classic cheesecake cannot be that good. It always looks like cake to me. And I don't know. I've always thought that the Oreo cheesecakes look kind of good, but just throwing cheese and sweet together just always is throwing me off. I don't know. Give me your opinion in the comments.
And if you're a cheesecake fan out there, I can only imagine the face you're making after hearing that. I mean, we're talking about the creamy top over top of that crumble base going into your mouth, the mix of textures and flavors just swirling around, turning your sad day into a good one. I mean, that is what cheesecake can do for you. But if that's not your cup of tea, I'm not going to... Look, first things first, I'm not going to shove cheesecake down someone's mouth if they don't want it. But, I mean, it would be easy to do because it's so soft and succulent and it's easy to get in your mouth.
You're right. He won't do that because it will most likely be down his gullet before you...
That's the other thing. If cheesecake's in the area, I'm not exactly trying to share it. That's not... I mean, I'll tear it up live right now. As soon as we get a camera in here, you can send us in the mail make sure it's refrigerated. The last thing you want is a warm cheesecake, but I'll tear up as large of a cheesecake as you can get in our mailbox.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good case for cheesecakes. I'm not gonna lie. The description of the crumpled bottom and all that sounded fairly nice to me. Maybe I'll have to try that in the very near future. And we are creeping up on the 50-minute mark.
I was actually about to.
And I actually have probably one question left to finish it off. This was probably the one thing in my notes from last night when I was a little bit tipsy writing some notes for a podcast. This was my singular thing I got out there, which I don't know how this got in there, but I had a question for the folks near me. You're a milk fan, correct?
Oh yeah, I drink milk.
Yeah, you're a milk fan.
Strong bones.
What I was thinking was, this might sound like a weird comment to you to finish off the cast, but can you imagine? What do you think? Some Hershey's syrup that you like to throw in some chocolate milk.
Absolutely, as good as it gets.
As good as it gets, some would say. You think it would still be good with some breast milk?
And here's the thing about breast milk, okay? You're getting into, now we're talking about textures of milk. From what I've seen, and I'm not
From what you've seen?
From what I've heard.
From what you've heard, there we go.
I'm not a guy that's chugging down a lot of breast milk, or any breast milk, but from what I've heard, and I've got some baby cousins, they haven't spoken to me particularly, they're still working on the words, but it looks a little chunky, and there's definitely something in there, it's not just smooth, and you can only expect that considering it is coming out of a breast.
I would have thought it was a little bit watery. I feel like there's no way there's chunks coming out of that teat.
And I'm not gonna call my mother or my aunt or any of my cousins to clarify, but maybe we'll get the answer for you at a later date. But from my general understanding, I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of texture, a little bit rougher texture to that milk. And that's not to degrade what the chocolate sauce can do, because I'd go as far as to say the only thing that chocolate sauce can't save is almond milk.
And I'd agree with that.
And
when it comes to milk.
Yeah, not to whip out the phrase too early, but if you drink almond milk, you are a bitch-made cat. That's as far as I can go with that. I am not an almond milk fan. And one of the more traumatizing moments in my life, I would say, was eating broccoli in first grade, even though I went from being the most unathletic kid in the class to the most athletic kid in the class the second I ate broccoli. I'm not saying that's what you should be feeding your children. Maybe give it a one-time try.
Yeah.
But I remember being out of milk in the morning and having to use almond milk in my cereal and throwing up immediately and having to miss school. And now, while I loved missing school, throwing up has never been my forte.
No, it's never ideal.
So to think that maybe that breast milk could present the same problem, I don't know. I don't know if the chocolate can save it. If there's anyone out there that's regularly sipping on breast milk that might be able to give us a little more insight,
throw some Hershey syrup in there.
Yeah.
Why not? And tell us what it's like.
And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, even if it is chunky, I bet you should. If you're already gonna have to stir it when you put the chocolate sauce, so maybe you're breaking up that chunk anyway. Maybe you're
even
getting
a blend.
Maybe even a blend. Maybe that's what Has anyone tried a breast milk smoothie?
And that's what we need to find out. And if you haven't had a glass of chocolate milk, no.
First off, you're a bitch made.
Well, no, that's not where I meant to go. But yes, if you haven't, then you're a bitch made cat. But if you do drink chocolate milk on the daily, I urge you to splash a shot or two of half and half in there. If you have some coffee creamer, you might never go back. And not to say it's good for you or your physique, but it very well will taste like a damn milkshake.
And I might try it. And I'm not a half and half guy, because I'll come out first and say I'm gonna drink 2 Monsters. And if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, Joe probably beats his wife, I don't, but I will consume a Monster. I will consume a Monster on the daily basis. If I'm going to do a task, there's gonna have to be a Monster energy drink in my body. Otherwise, it's probably not getting accomplished. Maybe an Adderall to help if you're really trying to go that extra mile to be great. Sometimes that's what's necessary.
Yes.
But half and half, typically not in my fridge. I'm not a coffee guy, but it might have to enter.
Neither am I. But yeah, I grew up with some coffee drinkers, and I can attest that it is revolutionary. And I'm not gonna I don't want to start any more controversy. I feel that the cast is about to end about right here, but
Oh, yeah.
I do want to say for future podcasts that I'm going to have to address the fact I don't drink carbonation,
Yes.
nor have I ever had a Monster.
That is something, no
and
carbonation.
that is something I will most likely never do because I don't know, it hurts my tongue. It's a little bit stingy.
Last thing
on
you
the
want,
tongue.
and I think we would all agree, last thing you want is an upset tummy.
And that's for sure.
So we're coming up on the 55-minute mark. Just looking at my notes here. Basically, we've addressed top 5 fast foods. Don't know if we got through the whole list, but it's the first cast. Give us a break. I mean, if you're a Dojo fan, you know that's typically what goes down.
You're right.
Breast milk probably needs to be put in a blender before chocolate sauce is included. But
Well,
after that,
we'll see.
yeah, well, that's true. Maybe we'll get some breast milk in studio next week. We can make some calls, try to get it transported. I'm sure we could find a mom with breasts.
Most definitely.
We also have next week. We'll have Dylan, our third member of our cast. We'll once again. Leave in the comments if you think we should reach out to JoJo Ward again. This is actually his third consecutive missed podcast. So you might be thinking, 3. I mean, hey, so guys get busy. We've only done 3 podcasts,
Yeah.
so that's a 100% miss rate from JoJo Ward, similar to Cade York's preseason field goal made rating.
We addressed the Deshaun Watson controversy along with the Deshaun Kaiser controversy. Well, I don't know about to the fullest extent, but I'm sure that'll be brought up again. But we had a little question about it, and I feel like overall this was a success of the podcast, especially without Dylan, one of the main men. One of the top contributors to this. Cowboys fan, which I don't condone, but to say the less.
No, and we also had, I'm sure we talked about we have the Hi-Ya. We'll get the Hi-Ya synced up. Hey, first try. Did you ever do something right on your first try? Probably, but not every time.
Probably not a hi-hat though.
Yeah, this is different decibels, different, a lot of things are going on right here.
We got a little delay on the phone. Come on.
Yeah, and on the volume, we're trying to, apparently, we've just been informed that we can use mics. Right now, we're speaking into a computer,
We had a little pause about the 5-minute mark, so if you're wondering why there was a gap when Gabe Williams entered in and started talking about the Orioles, we stopped recording. You probably recorded for another few minutes, and then we realized that it wasn't happening. So.
Yeah, luckily that all that was brought up in that was Diego Mendez just chatting absolute shit. So we didn't have to bring that up too much.
Yep, and if you got anything else to say, I feel like this almost wraps it up for me.
Yeah, no. Any suggestions? Anything you want to hear us talked about? Any other introductions? We both play football at Salisbury. Playing. We're at Salisbury every week, if you know where that's at, Eastern Shore.
Come by.
Yeah, come say hello. The biggest building in the place, that's where we're living.
Yep, the tallest one.
I'm
not gonna go out on a limb and say the exact one, but
yeah,
when you see the tallest apartment building,
You found
that'd be a
us.
slide by.
That's where we're at. All right, if you got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. We'll be sure to answer them as quick as we can, as we do nothing else but this podcast and play D3 football. From the dojo. We'll see you next time. Hey-ya! That's getting better.
Can't get better.
It's getting better.